Schedule when you're going to reach out to the brands you want to work with, when you're going to work on your business or anything like that. Because with creative work like this, the quality of the work is highly dependent on your emotional state. If you put something in your schedule, but the time comes and you're in a really low emotional state, trying to force content out, trying to force yourself to work on your business, it will hurt and you will burn out. The reason this is such a big deal is because most creators don't fail, they quit because they burn out. So instead of scheduling yourself, try to take a look at your day and try to observe the times and places where you are at your highest emotional state. Where do you feel the best? Where do you have the most energy? And use those times to work on your business, to create content, to do the stuff that will actually require energy from you. The quality of work when you are happy will be 10 times better than the quality of work when you are not happy. And if you work based off of energy management, you will have a level of consistency that you would not be able to replicate if you were simply just scheduling stuff out and being mean to yourself. If you want a part 3, just comment below. If you feel like you waste massive amounts of time, it's because you have a bad relationship with negative emotion. There is something that you should do, that you know you should do, that will massively help you in the future, and your negative emotion is telling you not to do it. But there's an internal conflict because your value system tells you it's something that needs to be done. I believe one of the main reasons this happens is because we borrow value systems from the people around us. Expectations of what a good life should look like come from the people who make fun of you. But you can't borrow emotional maturity. That has to be built. So you as a kid see someone do something amazing and think, I want to do that, but nobody tells you about the emotional maturity you will have to have in order to actually accomplish that goal. And I believe that the solution to this is building a habit of not always taking your negative emotion at face value, but rather confronting it and doing what it tells you not to do in order to discover more about the consequences it is trying to warn you about. Posting content is a really great example of doing something like this, because all of your insecurities and fears will come to fight you and keep you from putting a video out talking to strangers on the internet, when in reality, there's no difference between you and an expert, qualified stranger on the internet. They just made the video. It took me 4 years to learn what I'm about to teach you in the next minute and a half. I'm going to show you how to gaslight your mind into having a higher emotional baseline so you feel better, get more stuff done, have more energy. You are not even close to being a failure. I don't care if you're bed rotting right now, if your average get out of bed time is 2 p.m. Human beings were designed to live. Living is the definition of success. Everything else is a bonus. So don't focus on the stuff that you don't have. The more you think about it, the more stuff you'll see that you don't have. But if you focus on the stuff that you do have, you can literally gaslight your mind into believing that being in a state of gratitude is your baseline. When a bad thought comes to you, instead of immediately identifying with it and letting it ruin your day and just spiral you downwards, you'll recognize it for what it is, a bad thought, and out of the norm and observation. You'll be able to categorize it more effectively and learn what it's trying to teach you. Last of all, don't ever ask yourself about what you deserve and whether or not you're getting what you deserve, whether or not you deserve to live a good life. The idea of deserving is an illusion. Did I deserve to be born in the United States? It immediately falls apart once you start thinking about what privilege actually is and what deserving actually is. Deserving stuff does not exist. Instead of asking yourself about what you deserve, ask yourself about what you have and be grateful for it. And maybe ask yourself, what can I have a little bit later? And how can I work towards it? If you want your pet to be famous, don't do this or they'll never trust you again. This is Xiaopeng, and as you can see, his owner is offering him some food, promising him, hey, you can have it. Mom's not home. She won't know. But as soon as he's done eating, he accuses Xiaopeng of stealing the meat and calls Mom into the room. And now they're both scolding Xiaopeng for stealing meat that he was given. This hasn't happened once or twice. It's happened countless time. Everyone's going wild in the comments saying justice for Xiaopeng. He's in disbelief he got set up. He's ready to crash out. I would be too if I was him. And how's that dog know that he's being snitched on? This is unfair because Xiaopeng can't defend himself. You watch the video, you can tell Xiaopeng wants to talk and explain himself, but he can't. This comment says, hold on, I'm in my last semester at law school. And the search even says, justice for Xiaopeng. Xiaopeng is one of the most famous dogs on TikTok right now, but it doesn't help him because he doesn't know it. His whole life consists of being accused for stealing roast duck. Now, if you actually go and look through some of the videos, you'll see that the owner actually has a relationship with Xiaopeng. You know, he shakes his hand and stuff, he pets him stuff. Xiaopeng growls at him sometimes. So the relationship isn't just betrayal. It seems like he's playing with the dog, but how much is too much? Is this pushing the boundary? If you look at the content, you don't have to understand any language to understand what's going on in the video, to see the facial expressions on the dog who knows he's being betrayed and knows he can't do anything about it, which is why the content does so well. But also, there's like a small border that's being crossed. This dog is being violently betrayed, and you don't know whether or not to laugh or to be sympathetic or to like get Xiaopeng out of there. Justice for Xiaopeng, right? The creator even has a playlist saying Xiaopeng was wrong, so he knows like this is something that people really like to see. What do you think? Is it okay? Is he just a dog, or should we write it Dawn? Yo, if you have a friend who makes fun of you for creating content, you should thank them and never take anything they say seriously ever again. You low-key need friends who get hyped when you say you're going to do amazing things. The truth of it is, you deserve a better class of friend. You deserve to hang out with people who actually believe that you can do amazing things because they're doing things that are amazing themselves. You don't have to settle for hanging out with the people who happen to be part of your life. One of the things that's been so helpful for me as an entrepreneur is just having friends who I know if I call them, they're going to pick up, they're going to help me, they're going to support me. Low-key, they're going to be so excited about everything that I'm doing. And there's nothing like it if you're stuck in a rut and you see your friend just made a viral video where he signed a ton of clients or his business is actually getting off the ground. You're like, yo, I got to go back to work. This is especially true if you're interested in creating content at all. Like, it's the closest thing to your soul. You're showing people who you are every single time you post a video. And the negative feedback that other people around us can be incredibly destabilizing. And that's why it's so incredibly necessary to have people around you who support what you're doing, who are ideally doing the same thing. If you don't know how to find people like this, I will tell you exactly how. There's a girl who creates content here about personal branding. A lot of you guys have seen her. We started our TikTok accounts at the same time and bet who could get to 10,000 followers faster. That was incredibly helpful. And then on my TikTok, while I was growing, I would get followed by certain creators. I would follow them back. I'd send them a message. And ideally, it'd be nice if we could catch up on the phone. I've been doing that for like the last 2 years. And there's so many creators that I got to connect with, get to talk to and just see what their experience is, see what they're trying to do, because I was willing to reach out. Instagram too. I mean, if you're interested in creating content, just make a post on your story. Yo, I'm going to start creating content. Does anybody else want to do it with me? Don't care about if it's cringe or not. Somebody's going to respond, be like, yo, I was thinking about doing the same thing. Let's start. The connections you will gain from creating content, those are the most valuable things. And additionally, you do not have enough time or life to concern yourself with the thoughts of people who are just going to tear down everything that you try to do. Because what happens is you get people who don't believe in themselves, who have low self-esteem. That spills over onto the people around them. When someone sees you trying to do something amazing, like start a business, become a millionaire, create content, their mind goes, that's hard. That's for a privileged group of people and you're not in it. And they express the same to you, not just in talking to you, but in their whole manner when they hear about what you're trying to do. I used to talk about creating content to one of my close friends. And every single time I would talk about it, he'd be like, bro, that's so awesome. You're so lucky to get to be able to do that. I would never be able to get to do that. And it's just, and his whole overall tone was just like, it's not fair to people like me for you to be trying to do amazing things. And so I don't talk to him about my goals anymore. I don't have to. I can talk to people who are going to be happy for me. People who are going to encourage me, give me insight.